GameStop is going downhill like fast. Like, actually, strike that. GameStop has gone downhill for a very long time. As good old Max Payne said,
I ain't slipping, man. I'm slipped. I'm a bad joke.
Whoa there, Proto. I know what you're saying there, comment section.
Oh shit, here we go again.
No, this time it's actually pretty serious. Like, this is real serious, man. This time GameStop might actually become the next Toys R Us. So sign in, and get ready to comment down below, and share this video with a fellow gamer, because I'm quite sure a lot of people are going to want to know about GameStop's destruction. It's not only assured, but it might be sooner than you actually think. Long story short, GameStop was for sale, is now not for sale, and a lot of people saw this and, well, this is a real bad sign. So, you know, they were like, the future isn't looking good, and investors were gone. See you later. But not only that, GameStop's stock has tanked as well, which doesn't guarantee a Toys R Us-like situation, but it doesn't really look good. How did this happen, though? Well, that is exactly what this video is going to cover. GameStop's future, how GameStop ended up in this predicament, and if you work there, if you know someone who is working there, or are, for whatever reason, insane enough to invest in this company, this is exactly what you're going to want to do, so stay tuned for that. Get some popcorn, buckle up, and get ready, it's a bumpy ride. GameStop was originally a rival company to other companies like EB Games and several other stores that existed for games. Like big box stores such as Walmart and Best Buy, there were really no big box store chains across different countries and various locations like GameStop before GameStop, per se. Yes, there were stores, but nothing like a Walmart in every major town. While there were many other stores, and still are, like Game in certain countries, GameStop came on the scene and then bought many EB Games, as well as driving other companies out of business for various reasons. Perhaps it was GameStop, and, well, GameStop was just left holding the bag because the way the market was. Or perhaps at some point in time, GameStop did a better job than what they do now, but it really doesn't matter. The competition ended up dying out. Several years had passed where GameStop had started to become popular. Malls mostly host them. You can go to a mall, you can find one. Cities usually have 2 to 3 per city nowadays. These locations were rarely too far from each other also, which is why I say it's counterintuitive. It's not like you were going 30 minutes in either direction to find one. Usually it was within a few miles, and the cities nearby usually also weren't 20 miles away from each other. So basically you could drive 20 miles in one direction and find another GameStop in another city. This type of expansion can only last so long before competition returns and then does things better, moving on the market. You know, it's more than what GameStop is doing. Good old GameStop came up to start selling other things than games. They realized this problem. They started buying massive amounts of cell phones, certain electronics, and then selling memorabilia, like things like Funko Pop, gaming stuff, shirts, toys, stuffies, but not limited to just those. Most of these things fit together very, very well, but cell phones, not really making sense. Yes, there are mobile gamers, there's no questioning that, but not really the biggest chunk that GameStop is selling or pushing, so kind of strange that they jumped into this market. And also, not to sound biased against a certain class structure, if you're poor, you're poor, if you're rich, but GameStop doesn't attract the richest people. If you're rich, you're just going to buy whatever brand spanking new because you've got money, you don't care. You don't need the best deal. You don't need to trade in your games to buy a new one. So, a large amount of people would flood GameStop, not only with game systems that have been used, but possibly stolen games, and also now phones. And phones are a hot ticket item that gets stolen a lot. Yeah, I hear it now. Nothing they take is stolen, right? That's what people are going to probably push back and say. But yeah, if it's reported, they won't take it. If a proxy sells it, Well, then, GameStop has a margin it must maintain for profitability, and by accepting these items, this tech expires very, very fast. High risk, high reward, high rate of failure also. You gotta understand that. Can't have one without the other. GameStop buys an iPhone for $200 with the expectation that they might be able to sell it for $500 to a little bit higher, in between there, where new iPhones might be selling for $700 to $1,000. It makes a lot of sense, right? These are just random numbers I'm playing with, but because the iPhone comes out in iterations, yearly, I might add, usually they have updates to them, things like that, the value decreases greatly each year. And that makes the iPhone within 1 year worth way less than $500 if a new one's out, and, you know, you can put that $500 towards a new one. A lot of people would rather do that. So if GameStop cannot move those iPhones that it received, then you can see how the profit is lost pretty quickly. The projections versus what actually happens. And, hey, you know, consolidation, things like that, of previous expansion, closing down stores in various locations and countries. Basically, we have ourselves one recipe for massive disaster. If you missed the news recently, GameStop isn't technically for sale anymore. Though, if somebody offered enough, I'm quite sure they would likely sell. So, you know, if a company came along and said, here's the magic number, they would probably say, hey, I'm with it if the number was correct. GameStop closed out and lost 27% stock value at the close of that day for stocks. That's just above $11 a share. Okay, if you don't know how stocks work, I'll go ahead and explain that real quick, why this is so severely bad that you really should be selling right now. Unless you're willing to take that gamble, that is. Anyways, let's get on with the explanation. Stocks are a term for putting stock into a company, but you are actually owning a percentage of the company in some way, shape, or form. It's all technical, so just try to view it like that. Sometimes stocks can be rationed out in the thousands, each stock costing a certain amount. The idea is to buy low and then sell extremely high. Buy 500 shares, $5, sell later for $30 a share. 30 times 500 being a massive profit compared to what you initially invested. Makes sense? Good, I'm glad you're with me. But on the flip side, if a company bottoms out, and it's like that recent Toys R Us debacle I was talking about earlier, then that stock you bought for $5 could go down to less than $1 a share. Now, you know exactly why GameStop losing over 1/4 of its value is really, really bad. Imagine losing a quarter of 10 grand from your stock. Ouch. Guess your kid's college fund wasn't safe after all. But seriously, who the F is still investing in GameStop? Seriously. Also, GameStop technically still doesn't have a CEO. So if you recall, the previous CEO dipped out hard. He did one of these. Deuces, before this train wreck went down. I'm quite sure he saw the numbers and what was coming, and he was out, man. He's gone. See you later. This will all show you what happens when you go the route that GameStop went. As a company, I hate GameStop and everything they stand for. When you buy a game for $60 and then you turn around and sell it the same day for $25, then it's not hard to see the writing on the wall, am I right? Think about it. Most people know they are going to get screwed going to GameStop, but most people accept that at least they got a nice discount on their games there, and they got something back. They could trade in their games, get a nice little bonus credit, trade in towards something that they actually want. They play through this game, they're done with it, they want something new. But even those type of programs were tweaked around. The Powerup program is now changing and becoming something completely different. Something that they really had going for them was really big deal, really good, and they changed it. So, the one thing GameStop really had above the internet, most websites don't really give discounts, but now sites like Amazon, Gamefly, and even eBay, they can compete, man. So it reduces good old GameStop's margin even lower. So that's it. That's how we're here. That's how we arrived. We have websites encroaching in, giving discounts like Amazon Prime, among other things, just for the simple fact that if you buy things digitally, sometimes you can get a massive discount off Steam day one. It really causes problems for GameStop, and that's why they are where they are right now. Is there really anything more to say? GameStop has lost a massive chunk and are sinking fast. And if you are aboard, you need to jump ship. You need to sell that stock and get out while you have the chance to. Otherwise, you may end up in a situation just like Toys R Us was. I went into Toys R Us while it was closing, and they were literally selling everything. Not everything in the store, I mean everything that wasn't nailed down. Their counters, their cash registers, their computers, they were selling them while employees were still using them to ring people out. So, if you think it can happen, I assure you, very much, it can happen. And it could happen to GameStop. Toys R Us was everywhere, GameStop's everywhere. They're no different. They just sold toys, GameStop sells games. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, click that subscribe button. Tell me, give me some feedback. What's your worst experience with GameStop? What's your best experience? Do you feel pretty neutral about GameStop? Let me know in the comments down below while you like and share this video, and I will see you guys in the next episode of News You Missed. Hope you guys enjoyed this new format, and you let me know with some positive vibes and feedback. But until then, you guys have yourselves a great day. As always, good gaming, God bless, and I'll see you later.